At that moment, from the ridge to the east, a blood-chilling sound, like 10,000 anchor chains ripping up from the ground, and there rose a virulent wall of swirling magic. Dark purple and shot through with crimson veins, black etchings like lightning darting across the crest as it rose higher, yet higher. Hood's balls, Cuddle breathed, eyes wide. Fiddler simply stared. Reaper's Gale. Hey there kiddos, Graceless here. Today I would like to discuss the various forms of magic in the Malazan World, the most prominent of which is the Warrens. When it comes to discussing magic systems, or really any subject, it can be helpful to classify things. Brandon Sanderson, another amazing author you should check out, has come up with two good categories of magic systems, hard and soft. These are very useful for discussing magic and how it is used in the world or story, so I'll crappily explain them really quick. So hard magic, the form of magic in which involves clearly defined rules on how the magic works, usually along with what it can or cannot do, and is generally used as a tool to solve problems. Soft magic usually has very few rules or limitations. It's kind of a little bit murky about what's actually going to be its limits. And it's usually a cause of problems in the world and not the solution. Some examples of hard magic are the Mistborn series, Kingkiller Chronicles, and Avatar: The Last Airbender. And soft magic examples are The Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, and of course, the Malazan Book of the Fallen. If you want some great videos on the types of magic systems and how they can be used, I would recommend Hello Future Me. I'll put some links in the description to his videos on the subject. They're pretty great. Often people have a pretty poor opinion of soft magic systems, and there's one specifically defending it, and I really like it. It's pretty enlightening on the subjects. Hopefully you enjoy it. Now, the Malazan World is very slow to give you information about magic, so honestly a lot of what I'm going to be talking about can be considered spoilers, but I won't really get into too many plot points, so you don't really have to worry about that. There are essentially three different types of magic in the Malazan World: Warrens, Holds, and Old Magic, which is similar to animism. Warrens are by far the most commonly used magic in the book system, so I'll mostly be talking about them, unfortunately. Warrens can be thought of as separate realms that mages can pull power out of and shape as magic. Most of them are aspected in some way, whether like elements or anything really like having to do with the mind, light and dark. And with very few exceptions, they all have a physical other realm. These realms are often bizarre worlds, mostly related to their aspect, i.e., the Warren of Shadow is mostly made of shadowed objects, or the Warren of Fire mostly being sand, heat, and pillars of fire just kind of randomly about. And while some Warrens are inhabited by beings, most of them are relatively empty. In Gardens of the Moon, the mage Tattersail describes accessing magic as, "The Warrens of magic dwelt in the beyond. Find the gate and nudge it open a crack. What leaks out is yours to shape. Open yourself to the Warren that comes to you, that finds you. Draw forth its power, as much as your body and soul are capable of containing, but remember, when the body fails, the gate closes." In this metaphor, the strength of the mage can be related to how much they can crack that gate open. However, that's just really in terms of raw power and how much magic they can physically wield. But the other biggest factor in strength is how well you can shape the magic and specifically how you apply it. One of the things I love the most about the magic system in the Malazan World is that creativity will almost always trump raw power. Since the Warrens are aspected, you would think that someone who can use the Warren of Fire, say, would really just be able to use fire magic. Well, yes, but also no. So, there's aspected magic, of course, so they would be able to use fire magic, but there's also a certain amount of raw power that they can use. Sort of like a magical blast of power, and it seems to be that all mages have access to this. They essentially just burst their warren, kind of thing. Another major benefit to using warrens is that they can be used for travel. Distances are covered much more quickly inside of a warren, so a mage can open a portal and travel while imagining their destination, and then portal back to the Malazan World, possibly saving days of travel time depending on the situation. However, this is incredibly dangerous and not effective for mass travel since most mages are not powerful enough to make a large portal. There is, however, a fun trade guild who uses warrens in order to deliver goods around the world, complete with armed guards as protection. Due to the danger, they are insanely expensive to commission though. Now, how does one learn to use the warrens? Unfortunately, a regular person would have to study most of their life to access magic at all, and even then it is unlikely they will become proficient. Typically, someone has to be born with what's called a talent, which is a gift that allows mages to access their warren instinctively, which can be vastly improved upon with guidance and practice. Most mages can only access 1 or 2 warrens, but there are some who can access many more. Prodigies like that, however, are extremely rare. Alright, so what are holds then? Well, they are very similar to warrens, but they are older and much less refined. So, essentially it went holds and then the warrens were created based off of those. There's a lot more raw power in a hold, but the versatility is significantly reduced. You can think of a warren as like a fine tip pen, and a hold as a flat tip Sharpie. Both can be used to make amazing art, but the fine tip pen is capable of much more precise strokes and detail. However, if someone is sufficiently skilled in holds, they can be just as capable as a warren user, but it's much harder and even more dangerous to use. The most common use of the holds is to gather a group of mages to spin together a ritual and build their shared power before unleashing destruction upon their enemies. Lastly, there is the old magic. Not very much is known about it since only a couple characters are ever actually shown using it, but it's mostly a forgotten type of magic as everyone really focuses on the warrens. I described it as being similar to animism, since it largely has to do with spirits. In case anybody doesn't know, anima is Greek for soul, or spirit. It's the idea that everything has a spirit within it. The Greeks took it a little bit far with saying, like, even stone has a spirit, all that sort of stuff. The examples we see are being able to take over small creatures to see or hear through them, sensing others in close proximity, and small twig/stick rituals that are kind of similar to voodoo or hoodoo. Unfortunately, not much more is known. That's about all there really is for a basic conversation on magic. Obviously, as you read, you get given a lot of contradictory information, which has to do with Erickson kind of feeding you vague information to allow you to think about what is true or not, which is kind of how the real world works. Yeah, if you have any other questions, or if you want to hear about a specific subject, please leave a comment below. I will try to answer questions, or hopefully, we have a good conversation. Alright, I'll see you next time.